Hi, friendly friends. It's Amy from Savor, Salvage Scent, and I hope this finds you all well. I was a lucky recipient today of a bouquet of flowers from my beautiful friend Julianne, and they are from a Korean spice Viburnum Bush. Oh my gosh. I wish we had smell-o-vision. The best way I can describe this to you, if you've never smelled it, is it smells like a cross between Carnation or maybe Pink's dianthus, Clove, and gosh, maybe like a tiny bit of cinnamon. It is beautiful. If you haven't seen them, they're very much. They look kind of like a hydrangea, but the flowers are a bit fleshier, and they have just the tiniest dot of pink, or even almost like a fuchsia color, right in the center. And right now, where I live in Ohio, the scent is just incredible in the air. I was walking a few weeks ago and it caught my attention, and I kept thinking, why does the air smell so good? And then I came upon a row of them planted along a building. So this inspires what I want to talk about today. I thought I would get my hands on the scent in my collection that is most like the Korean spice viburnum. I'm not sure. Something I need to learn about is if anyone actually uses that flower. I don't know of anyone using that flower, but what it to me has the scent of, it's very, very similar to like a dianthus or a very rich carnation. So I thought I would talk today about Fendi's Asja. Sadly, this is a discontinued gem. It is. So I'll just say right off the top, I am crazy about the smell of carnation. Sometime I will try to do a video or session on that, why it has become passe. Because I'm not honestly sure. I wonder if maybe it's because it's associated that carnations in a florist shop have always been a little cheaper than roses. So I don't know if there's some bad connotation with them. I love carnations and dianthus. It was a scent that was really, really, really utilized heavily, I would say, God, from the early 1900s, if not before, until the 70s, 80s, 90s. So this gem, to me, really highlights a scent of carnation and many other things. So I'll talk a little bit about the notes in a minute. This was released in 1992. Sadly, it's discontinued. You still can get your hands on this for a decent price. This is a 0.68 ounce or 20 milliliter bottle. And I think I watched this, and I got my hands on it for like $20. And it's a really good deal because this is a scent where you only have to spray it a couple times and it projects really, really well. It does soften through the day and change a little. So I wouldn't call this like beast mode, but it is definitely, it projects, and I'll talk a little about that in a minute too. So I wanted you to see the bottle too. I think this is what I would call a chinoiserie masterpiece. I have to be honest, part of the reason I wanted to get my hands on this, for one, is because I read that it was carnation centered, but also look at this bottle. It is just so, so, so gorgeous. So released in 1992. I'm going to read a little bit to you about what I've learned. The nose is Jean Guichard, who is with Givaudan, and he has produced just some amazing scents. When I read this list, I was like, oh my gosh, the ones I have I'm completely in love with, and the ones I don't have apparently I need to get. So he designed Eden by Cacharel, as well as Lulu, which I just love. Just such an incredible vintage perfume. Another beautiful bottle too. He was a creator of Obsession by Calvin Klein, another what some people call Oriental giant perfume. He was a creator of Soleil by Fragonard and Hermes's Orange Verde. And that's just some of that caught my eye. So he's an incredible nose. And let me tell you a little bit about the scent. This is one of those really, really complex mixtures or compositions. Many, many, many things in it. So the top notes are apricot, raspberry, peach, lemon, and bergamot. The middle notes, a lot, are mimosa, nutmeg, honey, carnation, cinnamon, orchid, orris root, ylang ylang, lily of the valley, Bulgarian rose, and Egyptian jasmine. So, wow. And then the base notes are sandalwood, amber, musk, benzoin, vanilla, cedar, and styrex. So, one of the things, I'm going to get back to these middle notes, which I think really, really come out the most when I spray this perfume. But I think something worth mentioning that makes this really interesting is it mentions both benzoin and styrax. In my understanding, I have to learn more about it, is I think styrax is kind of like the genus, and I think benzoin and styrax are different kinds of resin from that type of group of plants. So I think that's the deal, but I have to learn more. My understanding is all these different types of benzoins are kind of so they're from a plant. I think you have to kind of damage the plant or the bark to get the juice or the kind of resinous stuff from it. But they have like a kind of vanilla-y quality, but not super sweet like vanilla sometimes is or is represented. Kind of a drier feeling, and has a tiny bit of spice. So it kind of, my understanding is it kind of gives it rounds a scent. So I'm going to talk a little bit about, I have this, having sprayed it earlier today on one wrist, but I'm going to spray it on the other to kind of give you an idea of what I get right out of the sprayer. First of all, amazing sprayer. Not always the case. Oh my goodness. Wow. So beautiful. Okay. Okay. So right out of the sprayer, you definitely get, I get stone fruit. Like, I'm not sure if it's peach or apricot, but one of those is kind of playing like what you get out of kind of dried or ripe stone fruit. But most of all, clove-ish carnation smell. Just so beautiful, and like a spicy carnation, but not a beast either. Just like, to me, almost exactly what you get when you smell dianthus or carnation in real life. Just a beautiful floral with a spiciness or cloviness. I get a tiny bit of like cinnamon nutmeg kind of smell, and a little, so when you first spray it, you get a tiny bit of like soapiness. So what I would imagine would be like a really rich like carnation soap with a tiny bit of stone fruit. But the difference is when it starts to dry down, I mean, within like minutes, that soapy kind of quality goes away. And to me, you just get the most straightforward kind of carnation smell with, like, as it dries down, a hint of like an incensey kind of feel. And I think that comes from that like benzoin and styrax. But so I would call this like a like a churchy carnation scent. And what I think is incredible about it is a lot of like perfumes that were classified as oriental or that have these kind of qualities, often they are so deep or dense, often vintage 70s, 80s, 90s, that you almost, and I love those beasts, you almost can't like you can't compete in a way. Like they're very strong. So like, you know, Obsession comes to mind. And I would say this scent is most like, to me, Cinnabar, but it is not as strong, and it's not like, I like Cinnabar a lot, but it's not as beastly. Like this to me is a little more direct. It's not quite as like honeyed. It's more dry. It's not sticky. You know, it's not like, it's still seductive. I think it's sexy as hell, but it's not syrupy or sticky. It's dry. So what makes this scent incredible to me is where a lot of those perfumes, I would say, that are classified in this kind of same group, I think they can only kind of be worn usually in the colder months. But I think when this dries down especially, I think this has just a tiny bit of like a sparkling nature. It's a little more direct, dry. And so it's not so deep and dense and dark that you can't wear it in this, even in the warmer months. So I think this is just an amazing, amazing perfume. I think it's just a great, you know, it's a beautiful design, honestly, to have in your collection or on your vanity or dresser. It's just beautiful, beautiful. And you can still get your hands on it for a decent price. I think I paid around $20 for this, but you can even find bigger, like 1.7 ounce bottles for anywhere from, I would say, 50 to like 75, which is what a high-end fragrance goes for now, or even much more. So I think still a steal. And if you love carnation, spice, this to me is just an absolute winner. It's absolutely beautiful. And to me, it is the closest thing I have to the scent of this, what's blooming in the air right now. So I thought was really worth highlighting today. So I would love to hear from you on, do you wear any Fendi perfumes? I know some have been absolute giants, and then there's some that have really flown under the radar. I would love to know from you if any of you like Carnation, or if you have any feelings about it. Again, if you have any intel on why it's kind of gone out of trend, I would love to know, because it's Carnation is one of my absolute favorite scents. So I would love to know more about, if you know about some perfumes that really highlighted, or if you know more about why it is or isn't used presently. And then lastly, I wanted to tell you a story about wearing this today. I was out at the market, had my mask on, you know, COVID times, and I was at the grocery at the market, and the people behind me, 6 feet behind me, were like, oh my gosh, it just smells so good in here. Is it the flowers that we're standing next to? And for the longest time, we were standing there for a long time. So I didn't know that they were talking about me. But at first they were like, is it the flowers that I smell? Gosh, it smells like carnations. I don't see carnations. Oh, anyways, they go on to talking. And then like 2 minutes later, I hear them say, no, I don't see the it's not, oh, I don't know. It smells so good. Is it the bakery? Maybe it's the bakery. It smells like, I don't know, like cinnamon. I don't know. It smells so good. And then like two more minutes later, I started to move a little and kind of shimmy up to the register. And all of a sudden the woman behind me says, are you the one that smells good? And I was like, am I vain if I say yes? And she laughed, and I said, what are you smelling? And she said, I don't know, some kind of delicious treat. And I said, well, I think if you're smelling me, it smells like carnations or spice. And she was like, what is it? So I thought that was kind of fun. And it also shows you that this scent projects. Again, it's not a beast that it like knock somebody out, but I think it's a pleasant, noticeable scent. So if you like carnations and if you like not to be a wallflower and for somebody to notice your scent, this is a good one. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day. I hope that you will consider subscribing and keeping in touch and that I get to talk with you soon. Good night.